Hi, everybody. This is Dawn Mitchell, and welcome to Dawn of Sports. We have an awesome show for you today. Alexa Score, you have seen her beautiful face on television, whether it's the Due North Show, Off-Road Odyssey. She is also working for Mastercraft Boats. She's got a lot to talk about on that, and also a professional wakeboarder. And she's also overcome some tremendous things in her life that only a strong female can. You know, I like to highlight strong women. So without further ado, we will be coming up with Alexa Score.
This is Dawn of Sports. Thanks for listening. We do appreciate it. We're coming to you from the Aquarius Home Services Studios. Best way to listen to this show or any of our shows at talknorth.com. Please subscribe to your favorite podcast app. It's free, it's easy, and we appreciate it. We are being brought to you today by Lexus of Wayzata and Maplewood, and we are also being produced by Alex Haugen. Thanks to Alex, and thanks to Dawn for never mentioning my beautiful face.
You do have a beautiful face, though, Jim. We're just going to have to splash out your photo every now and again. Just
actually, I think we're keeping the photo private is the best way to go here.
Well, we have Alexa Score joining us today. Alexa, thanks so much for joining us. I just adore you. I know you're going to be on our Fox 9, our unscripted show coming up soon in a couple of weeks, but I'm so happy that you can join us here. We have so much to talk about. How's your day going?
My day is great. You know, the sun is shining and here for another sunny summer Minnesota day.
I know, and we are so happy to have you in Minnesota. I know you're a Minnesota native, born and raised in Spicer, but whenever I look up and I'm looking on social media or on TV, you're all over the globe. So you must be one tired woman, jet setting all over the place, but you always look like you're having fun. How do you keep it up?
Yeah, I would say that's very accurate. Tired, but having fun at all times. It takes a pretty serious attention to detail to manage kind of my schedule because I'm working for all different, companies and brands and trying to piece it all together. I spend about half my year on the road, but it's not really a consistent schedule. It's kind of all over the place, but certainly try to have fun despite the chaos.
And what I love about you and I first met years ago when you were doing some TV things for the Vikings. Congrats that you've even launched that into a whole nother career, which is, I know it is so hard to do, but you just keep going and have amazing things like Due North, or if it's Off-Road Odyssey, you're doing daredevil things too that I'm like, wow, have you ever done that? How do you just kind of keep finding ways to open up the adventure, should I say? Like, you're willing to try anything, aren't you?
I absolutely am. And I would say, to get to where my career is now, you have to say yes to a lot of things, right?
Yeah.
You have to take the opportunities as they come. And sometimes it's not exactly what you expected you'd be doing, but, being open and staying curious. Being open to new things, being open to, like I just said, doing things that maybe you didn't think that you would be doing. Maybe you're not working in the exact industry or like in the exact industry that you would like to be in, but it seems to all come full circle. And if you just keep persistent and working hard, you tend to get to a place where you wanted to be, for sure. The path is not linear, so to speak, but as long as you just keep taking like the next step, and trying to enjoy every opportunity that comes your way, like that's been a huge benefit to me.
Well, if people don't know, when you were younger, you loved anything in the water and you became a professional wakeboarder, which is crazy. But you were also, whether it was water skiing, anything on the water, you can ski just almost like building pyramids and all that acrobatic stuff. When you first got in the water, what age were you and what draw you like kind of to the water? Be like, okay, now I'm in the water, I love it, but now let me go like 1 foot on a board at like 80 miles an hour. Maybe not that fast, but
I grew up on Green Lake in Spicer, Minnesota, which is a really special little resort town, a beautiful lake for recreation and for fishing and all kinds of activities. So was very fortunate to be exposed, to the lakes of Minnesota at a young age. we had a ski team in our little hometown. It's called the Little Crow Water Ski Team, and they were world renowned. They still are, but at the time, even more so. And you'd go to the ski show every Friday night. It's just kind of what you did. It's a town of 1,000 people, and 4,000 people would show up for the show.
Wow.
It's just like a very unique, special thing to have, especially in a small town. So for whatever reason, I wanted to be on the ski team. My parents weren't into it. My sister wasn't into it, but I was like, I want to do that. I want to go to the top of the pyramid. I want to be a part of this. So when I was 9, I joined the Little Crow ski team and was, fully in. They were putting me on top of world record pyramids. I was taking hard falls. I was doing all kinds of stuff in the ski show. And really that ski team became my family. And it was a part of life. You're practicing multiple nights a week in the summer and then shows, and you're traveling for tournaments and things. So I owe a lot of my water sports success to the Little Crow ski team in New London, Minnesota. And then, when I was 13-ish years old, my older sister, Tiff, came home from college one summer, and her buddies were wakeboarding. And I was a little sister who wanted to do everything that her older sister was doing. So I had to be wakeboarding as well. I had to learn how to do this. So really it was my sister Tiff who got me more into wakeboarding specifically. But it was just a combination of things, like I said, coming from such a unique place that is Spicer. Even though it's a small town, there were a lot of cool opportunities.
And Alexa, I know at a young age, you found out that you had a rare form of leukemia. First of all, if you don't mind talking, I know it's such a touchy subject and I don't want to bring you back to a dark place, but how did you first find out? What was the symptoms? And that's so hard when you're so young to have to deal with that.
Yeah. When I was 16, that summer, I started experiencing severe bone pain. Oh. So, I had described the pain to just a few people. I was an incredibly active kid and I didn't really complain much. I had broken bones. I had lots of injuries from gymnastics, and I just wasn't one to complain. But the bone pain was kind of debilitating. When I started telling people about it, people's first question, what is bone pain? How do you know it's inside your bones? And I had told multiple people, it feels like my bones are sick. It felt like growing pains. I had growing pains as a child, in my shins, but this pain was in my elbows and in my hips and in my knees. I grew up with my dad, and God bless him. He's, wasn't the most sympathetic guy. So, a lot of people in my life are, well, you're so active. It's probably from tennis or gymnastics or whatnot and what have you.
Right. You're just sore or something like that.
Yep.
Right.
Exactly. And my intuition told me it was something else because it was such a unique pain. So I actually ended up going, my dad said, let's wait it out till Thanksgiving. And so we did. This had, a few months had gone by, and I went and saw a doctor, and this doctor told me to go to physical therapy. It's just from sports. And I was really discouraged at that time because I felt like no one was truly listening to me. And I probably wasn't the best at communicating at that age either, but I had actually a week later ended up having an accident that required stitches in my forehead. And when I went to get the stitches removed, my mom, who lived in Minneapolis, came with me. And she said, we're asking the ER doctor about your bone pain. I don't care what anyone says. We got to get to the bottom of this. And so when I went to get my stitches removed, we did ask the ER doctor about the pain, and he told me that I was having muscle spasms. And, I kind of snapped. And it kind of looked like your classic, 16-year-old with an attitude problem. But I was just so fed up and again, discouraged because I just didn't think that was what was wrong. And my mom insisted hey, can we please just do a simple blood panel? That's all I ask of you. We'll get out of your hair. And he did. And sure enough, he called me at midnight and told me I had to come in the next day, first thing. And from there, I was sent to St. Paul Children's Hospital. And then I found out that I had chronic myeloid leukemia. But it wasn't, it was very chance that I had that accident and needed the stitches in my forehead. Otherwise, I don't know what would have happened, because I had already been told by, a doctor that there was nothing wrong with me, essentially. So I got very lucky in that sense, and lucky that my mom was there advocating for me as well.
And what has that taught you too about now being an advocate for yourself and telling other people, like, you have to be your own health advocate. If you said you just knew something was wrong, like it wasn't your typical pain. You probably learned a lot from that.
Absolutely. I have just completely taken control of my health journey, and that's what I encourage others to do. Obviously, we have to listen to what the professionals have to say, but as long as you are truly in touch with your body and you know yourself well, I think that we have to listen to our gut and we have to listen to ourselves. And so not taking the first opinion if you don't feel comfortable with it is super important. And, I'm glad, like I said, that my mom was there during that appointment, because it would have been the second doctor who just kind of brushed off this bone pain. And, her just asking for a simple blood panel probably saved my life, or close to it. So taking control of your health, but also educating yourself on your health, as well. For me, I've become an expert in my cancer, chronic myeloid leukemia, and you really have to, so that you can advocate for yourself and be up to date on what's going on inside your body and what's out there treatment wise.
And I think it's a great lesson for everyone to be your own advocate when it comes to your health, but especially so when it comes to women. And we're hearing more and more about this from the medical community, that women are often not listened to as much as they should be. And, it's kind of, oh, well, it's just that. Or, oh, and sometimes we women do it to ourselves. We're like, oh, I'm just tired, or I must have. But if you have that knowing, just like you had in that back of your mind, even if you're young and you just know something's wrong, you just keep pushing to find that out. And I remember my dear friend, Steve Frazier, he used to work at Fox 9, and he knew beforehand. He said something is wrong. He ended up having pancreatic cancer, but the pain where he had it was exactly where he had the pain. And he even had one doctor at one point tell him it was all in his head. So I guess, the message that people should learn is, if please don't stop if you're still feeling that, because I think later in your life too, where you were given the choice, I should say, between having bone marrow transplant or doing an experimental drug, you still went with your intuition on that, right?
Yeah, that was when I was 16. So that was right after the diagnosis. I had been told by multiple doctors that looked me in the eyes and said, "You will die without a bone marrow transplant."
Wow.
Which is a pretty aggressive thing to say.
To a 16-year-old as well. Mm-hmm.
And also, just given the fact that there was this other medication out there that Dr. Yoav Messenger at St. Paul Children's Hospital had told me about. And it was brand new. But, for people to tell me, oh, no, you have to have a bone marrow transplant. That was very interesting. But for me to still feel that chemistry with Dr. Messenger and trust him, I said, no, there's actually something else available, and that's what I'm going to do instead. So, I was given the choice, and my parents did allow me to make that decision on my own. And, with their guidance, of course, if they felt strongly one way or the other, they obviously would have encouraged me to do that. But, the experts aren't always right. And so, like you said, it is so important to trust yourself and to listen to your body. While, of course, we don't want to be constantly thinking about that there's something wrong with us. And of course, that can consume you as well. But for sure, just trying to be in touch with your body and listening to your gut is so important.
Well, here's why you have always been, even from afar, when we met each other briefly in all these years, why you have always been an inspiration to me, because I had heard of your story and I had also heard that you're like, okay, now that you were starting to get healthier, you didn't know how long that you had. You decided, I'm going to live. Like you chose the live, the joy. I love water. I want to be around it all the time. And then you made some tough decisions there still for someone very young.
Yeah, I decided the first 6 months after diagnosis were very dark for me. I was just incredibly ill, incredibly weak. The side effects from the medication were terrible, excruciating. And slowly over time, those side effects dissipated. There was a time even during that 6 months where the doctor, Dr. Messenger said, we might have to have a bone marrow transplant because your quality of life is so low. But he's like, let's just give it a couple more weeks. Let's just see if these side effects will dissipate. And sure enough, they did. And when I started feeling stronger, my prognosis was still very unknown because this medication, no one had been on it for more than a couple of years. And if it worked for them, we didn't know for how long. And but I decided, I want to be on the water. That's my number one passion is my family and being on the water. And so I decided I was going to graduate high school early and move to Orlando, Florida, which is, the industry hub for wakeboarding and water sports. So that is what I did. And my sister supported that journey and she said, hey, I'll move to Orlando with you. And we had planned really only to stay for a short amount of time, but I ended up staying for 10 years. So,
Wow.
And my sister still lives in Florida. So, moving down there had initially been just so I could be on the water while I was feeling good because I didn't know how long I would feel good or be alive for. And that turned into, hey, I might actually be able to pursue this dream of becoming a professional wakeboarder. And then when on my 21st birthday, I competed in my first pro contest.
Wow.
So, yes, it's pretty fun.
And, just to have that mindset that I'm going to take it one day at a time and I'm going to enjoy life and I'm going to fight for my happiness and what I want. And now to be like, you're still taking your chemo pill every day, though, right? To this day.
Yes,
Aren't
correct.
you?
So
Yes.
I am still on the same medication 18 years later.
Wow.
I am kind of the poster child for this drug. It's said to have saved hundreds of thousands of lives to this point. But for a lot of people, it doesn't work for 2 decades. A lot of times the cancer mutates and becomes resistant to the drug. But for me, I've been able to take this chemotherapy pill for 18 years, and there are still side effects, and of course, never-ending medical bills and the stresses that come with a chronic disease. Going to the oncologist every 3 months and paying for the medication, and then other side effects on top of that. But it has truly kind of just become my new normal, and has just been a humbling, experience where. Yeah, tomorrow's definitely not promised. So let's capitalize on today and have fun.
When people see you, they see you as the picture of health, right? She's beautiful, she's athletic, she's traveling the world, she's on TV shows, she's repping companies, Mastercraft Boat Company, I think even at one point Body Glove, you name it, like Hard Rock Cafe. You're repping all of these unbelievable companies, and people look at you, and sometimes, they always say it's the invisible. They don't know what you're fighting, the invisible diseases, which is very visible when you don't feel well. But do you sometimes pinch yourself saying, despite everything that I fight through, despite it all, look what I am doing. Look, I am truly living. Do you allow yourself those moments to give yourself your own flowers, so to speak?
It wasn't until recently. I was always pretty hard on myself and always felt like I should have been doing more. It really has come to a point the last couple of years where I have to stop and reflect and just think about all the things that I've been able to do over the past 18 years and had the opportunity to do. And it's humbling when you're like, you can actually kind of pat yourself on the back in a quiet, by yourself in a quiet room, just say, hey, like we've done pretty good for the circumstances. For a competitive, disciplined person, I know a lot of people can relate to that, where sometimes it's hard to actually, take a step back and congratulate yourself or be proud of yourself. But It has always been this kind of like inner pride that I've practiced, where it's like, no one, like you said, it's a double-edged sword, looking healthy and maybe not feeling healthy or having to deal with all this stuff behind the curtain. But you have to be proud of yourself first. Yes. Because there's no amount of sympathy. There are no amount of likes or comments on social media that will replace that. You truly have to be proud of yourself first. And then, whatever comes on top of that is great. But, just recognizing what I had gone through from the beginning and just saying, we know, I know what I've gone through. So that's all that matters. But, I've had tremendous support from all walks of life and all areas of my life. So that's been, invaluable.
So glad to be able to hear your story, Alexa. Thank you. Let's take care of the business here. We do want to thank Lexus, Wayzata, and Maplewood.
Hey, Rosie here for Lexus of Wayzata and Lexus of Maplewood. If you're in the market for a new luxury vehicle, look no further than my good friend Charlie Swanson at Lexus. Whether you're on the west or the east side of the Twin Cities, they have got you covered with two great locations, Lexus of Wayzata and Lexus of Maplewood. Check out the all-new Lexus TX, a spacious SUV with 3 rows of seating and plenty of room for all your gear. Head over to lexusofwayzata.com or lexusofmaplewood.com for details and to find your next ride today.
Also love to be associated with a great Minnesota company, Minnesota Masonic Charities. And a reminder, use the promo code TALKNORTH15. You will get 15% off your orders at Natreum.com. It's Natreum. They have the mothership store in St. Louis Park. You should go over there and talk to the sales associates, figure out what works for you in your life. And then just go to Natreum.com, use the promo code TALKNORTH15, get 15% off. As I've told you, I use it for muscle pain, joint soreness, sleep aids, fun, stuff that tastes good, stuff that won't hurt you. It's all natural. It's everything from gut health to quick stress relief. They have something for you at Natreum and Natreum.com. Back to Dawn.
All right. Thank you, Jim. Well, if you've been listening, we're here with Alexa Score, TV personality, athlete, just an ambassador for many, many brands, just an inspiration to me, just for not only knowing her story and hearing it now, but also getting to know the person that Alexa is. So Alexa, let's come into today where you're still working with Mastercraft boats. And I just see you gallivanting around the country, sometimes the world. And I know it's work, but it's also fun. And you have seemed to have mastered that very well. What is it like to be able to be with them and travel the world, as well as do your TV shows and be on Due North and Off-Road Odyssey and all of that? But when you get to work, and I think you just said recently you're out in Tahoe, and when the golfers aren't golfing, they're on boats with you. So somebody's free time is your work time, and I know that all too well. It can be fun, but gosh, you must be exhausted.
Yeah, it's a lot, but it's a whole lot easier when work is outside on a boat and it's your favorite thing to do. Right. Certainly just so grateful for the opportunity to work with Mastercraft. They have been a huge support to me and enabling me to share my first passion of water sports with so many other people. Mastercraft built the first wake boat, and they've been in the water sports industry since the very beginning. And they truly, from the inside of the organization, live and breathe water sports. But their first priority is, allowing family and friends to make memories. They're not building boats, they're building memories. And that's really their priority. And they put their money where their mouth is when it comes to that. We have a number of campaigns going on right now that display that. We have our Surf to Save Lives campaign, which is a partnership with St. Jude. For every minute that people log on the water on the Mastercraft Connect app, Mastercraft is going to donate $1 to St. Jude. So they've promised up to $75,000. This is the third year of that campaign.
Wow.
So St. Jude also committed to, helping families create more memories. We want to help these kiddos in need with chronic diseases, with cancers. We want them, to live long, healthy lives if they can. And St. Jude is certainly dedicated to that. And so I'm super proud to be a part of that partnership. And then we have the Let Her Rip campaign through Mastercraft.
Yes, I love this one.
So Mastercraft is hosting 7 stops this summer across the country. And it's a day when we invite women of all ages, all skill levels to come out and just have a day on the water. So you can learn how to surf. If you already know, you can just take a set. You can learn how to drive the boat in a really welcoming and non-intimidating environment. So Mastercraft is dedicated to, getting women on the water and helping them feel comfortable both behind the boat and behind the wheel. So like I said, Mastercraft is just really doing great things in communities. And it's so humbling to be a part of this company and what they stand for.
I just love that not only are you helping to save lives and partnering with St. Jude, but also helping to formulate not only memories, just like, Mastercraft loves to do, but for a young woman like yourself, like you said, you were inspired by being around the water and then you saw other people doing it to try it. Now to kind of come full circle and help other young girls, young women just try their hand, I should say, at doing what you love. Isn't that kind of a full circle moment in many ways for you?
Most definitely. I mean, if my 9-year-old self could see how much time we get to spend on the water and that we get to share this with other girls, of all ages, it would blow my mind as a 9-year-old, to be able to tell her that. But for me, the water shaped who I was and has been such a big part of my journey, both personally and professionally, through my darkest hours. That's what I thought about. And so it never gets old for me. I never take it for granted. Not a single minute out on the water is taken for granted. So it is totally a full circle. And those are the moments where I'm like, pinch me. I'm like, really? Yeah. Like, we're just... we get to be on the water and share this with others. It's really truly so cool.
Yeah. And you're helping make memories for them, like core memories, like they're going to take forward. That's just so cool to be part of someone else's life that way.
Absolutely. Yeah. To be able to have those moments that they might remember forever, or maybe it's just the beginning of their love or a new passion for them. That's so cool.
All right, something that's fascinated me that I wanted to ask you, and I haven't had a chance to yet. So the Sci-Fi Channel, you were in a movie, The Two-Headed Shark Attack, and I was like, I can't believe I forgot to ask you this whenever I, chatted with you. I'm like, what was that like? Please tell us.
Oh my gosh, so funny.
Part of Shark Week, I'm sure.
It is now. Yeah, it's crazy. I don't even remember what year it was, but I got this crazy opportunity where, I got a call. Hey, do you want to be in this shark movie? And I'm like, ugh. At the time, I was just starting my wakeboarding career, and I was like, man, people would probably think this wasn't that cool, but I'm going to do it anyways. Right. So me and my sister drove down to the Florida Keys and filmed this movie. Carmen Electra was in it, Brooke Hogan.
Stop!
It was called Two-Headed Shark Attack. It was the most ridiculous thing ever. And so after we got done filming, we're like, okay, we tell no one. We never tell anyone about this. And 6 months later, my cousin called me and she was like, hey, I just ran across the cover of a movie and I swear this is you and Tiff on the cover. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And sure enough, the movie was made and they put us on the cover, and now it still airs. Yeah, every Shark Week. It's on Sci-Fi regularly. So it's just the silliest, funniest
Of course
thing.
you're on the cover.
So yeah, that's always been a funny one to reminisce over, but totally random. And yeah, one of the first kind of TV things that I had done.
I'm going to have to get your autograph from my wife. My wife is a former scuba instructor. She loves sharks. She thinks they're misunderstood, and she's the greatest defender of sharks I know. Let's put it that way.
Hey, I love that. I love that. The sharks need support as well. So that's so cool.
Hey, I grew up near Cape Cod. Okay. So, we live with Jaws. I know it's the 30th year or something like that, but like you never outgrow the fact that the movie Jaws was made like right up the road, right?
Totally.
And you're like, but I also know, I said, I've never seen a shark until I went to the Bahamas, and they were nurse sharks that can't even hurt you. So no, I have never seen one in person. Yes, you had a healthy awareness. Like you said, okay, I'm going to stay kind of in the shallow end, but there's also a shark app like that you can download, and they tag and they name these sharks. So you can see. So if you go to Cape Cod or Martha's Vineyard or even Nantucket, you can see where the sharks are. The ones that are tagged, of course. The other ones might be a surprise. But I'm like, oh yeah. So Jim, your wife would love that. I mean, she totally would be like, oh my gosh, where's Sid the shark? Oh, there's Amy the shark. I mean, you can just follow along, find out how misunderstood they are.
Our first vacation together, she took me snorkeling with whale sharks in the Gulf of Mexico. So,
are they mean? Cool. Are they? I don't know anything about.
No, whale sharks are docile. They're huge. They're school bus size, but they would not hurt you. In fact, your job in the water is to not touch them. Not get any sunscreen on them. But you should basically hold still, and this school bus sized whale just goes by and looks at you.
Oh my God!
Not a lot of people can say they've done that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I can't believe I did it. I would not have done that on my own, by the way.
Well, Alexa, how much aware do you have to be? I'm sure a lot of stingrays, sharks, whales when you're out doing your thing.
Well, most wakeboarding takes place in freshwater. Okay. So there are certainly not as many predators in lakes as there are in the ocean. But everyone's number one question about living in Florida is, of course, the alligators.
Oh, yeah.
Which we would see from time to time, but really it never even crossed my mind when I was in Orlando, because they're so afraid of the boat and they don't really hang out in the middle of the lake. So you're pretty safe from alligators. There are also, water moccasin snakes that are not safe, but for the most part, wakeboarding is predator free.
Well, you're so good. You never fall. So, I mean, you're good. They'd have to like jump up like a salmon and attack you to try to catch you anyway. So,
well, yeah, that's true. That's true.
What has been the most exciting, fun thing you feel like you have you've done? It could be lately, because you're always going somewhere. Like you must have a really good calendar book. Alex and our producer, were just talking about how you got to keep things straight. Like, okay, I'm going to be off-roading here. I'm going to be in the water over here. But for you personally, what has been like the coolest, most fun thing that you've done?
Oh, there are countless adventures. For Off-Road Odyssey, I've been to 30 plus states. And for those adventures, you're going to the most beautiful place, right? You're going to the dunes, or you're going to a mountaintop, or your oceanside, the most beautiful places in the world. And wakeboarding has also brought me around the world. I had an extraordinary trip in the Philippines for wakeboarding, which was really life-changing for me early on. That was one of my first international trips. And then I did a trip with the Travel Channel back in 2015, I think, to Alaska. And I wakeboarded in Alaska in front of a glacier in a remote part of the Kenai Fjords. So that was probably the most impactful trip that I've done, was that Alaska trip for me.
Oh, and was it like light 24 hours when you went? Like, I'm not sure what time of year you went.
It was, yeah. It was summer.
Oh, wow.
And so, yeah, when you're filming a show, that's not really what you want, because they're like, well, the sun comes up at 3 a.m., so let's get out there. But it's pretty unique. We were sleeping on a boat, so to wake up at 4 a.m. and the Alaskan guys would be out there fishing, and they'd be like, oh, you're up. All right, cool. We can go wakeboarding now. But
and you're like looking at your clock, blinking, looking at like, what?
Yeah, exactly. So it's definitely kind of a surreal feeling to be over there when the days are that long. But that wakeboard trip was just too cool. Yeah, once in a lifetime, for sure.
Do you have a dream place that you still want to get to?
My favorite part of the world is the Mediterranean. So I spend, if I travel for pleasure, I usually go to the south of Spain. I love it there. I've never been to Greece, so I'd love to go to the Greek islands. I've always been drawn there. Again, part of the Mediterranean, has a big fishing culture. But really, most of my travels are where opportunity presents. It's been, that's kind of the thing where you just say yes to opportunities and you go, even if it's not on the top of your list. And most of the time you end up having a surprisingly good time, learning something new, seeing new places, trying new things. So I have never really had a bucket list or like a travel list per se, but I obviously am always drawn to the water. So mostly warm places on the water.
I recommend Santorini, Greece, by the way. We went last summer. It's incredible.
That's on my list.
Yes.
Yeah. And Mykonos is great too, but Santorini is like something I've never seen before.
Okay. All right.
Is it as pretty as the pictures where everything is blue and white and the water is just like sparkling?
It's better.
Oh.
Yeah, it's incredible. It's everything. I mean, it lives up to the pictures, but obviously the depth, and just honestly, I've traveled the world. I've never seen anything quite like that. It's called the Caldera. It's basically this huge bay created by a volcano, and everything is built around that bay. So every single business, every hotel, every place somebody lives has a view of this incredible natural miracle.
All right, I've already thought of another show. Me, you, and Alexa. We should just travel the world. We'll start in Santorini.
There we go.
Sounds good.
Sign me up.
Well,
I'm in.
We'll let Alexa handle the water stuff. I'll be on the boat. I'll be waving to you, and you can do whatever you want back there. Jim will drink. We got Alex. He'll be captaining the boat, or at least he'll be recording everything.
Alex is not captaining the boat. I'm out. I'm out.
There we go. And try all the foods. We may never come back, but there we go. We have to come up with a name for the show, but that would be, as long as it's not like Gilligan's Island and we get lost somewhere.
Name the show. Great. Name the show. Everyone but Alex.
Sorry, Alex.
Well, Alexa, before we let you go, if you had one piece of advice to give to young women out there about following their dreams and their strength, what would you say to them?
I would encourage them to trust themselves. That was something, I second guessed myself along the way a lot as a teenager, even into my 20s. It hasn't been, until the past 5 years when I've really trusted my dreams and trusted kind of some of the goals and the crazy ideas that I've had. And I think it's just really important to try your best to block out some of those societal pressures, block out, what other people want for you. Take that into account, of course, and taking advice as you go. But I think listening to your own self is invaluable.
Well, thank you. You have your Let Her Rip coming up where women can take that first step. What date is that again? If people want to find out more about that?
That is on Thursday.
All right.
The 24th of July. I believe it's full right now, but there are other stops across the country. And if you can't get a spot this year, we'll definitely be doing it again next summer.
All right. Well, best of luck to you on that. Also, the Surf to Save Lives to support St. Jude. That's amazing. Looking forward to more Due North off-road odysseys and any other adventure that you say yes to. Jim and I will be in your suitcase, and Alex will be trying to find us. That's it. We can make a game of it. Alex just trying to find everywhere in the world that we go. And just the best of luck to you, because like I said at the beginning of this, you are an inspiration. You always have a smile on your face, and you are one strong warrior. Thank you so much for joining us today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me, and thank you for the kind words. It means a lot coming from you.
Oh, and from Jim.
And from Jim.
And from Jim.
I'm just here to read ads.
All right. Thank you, Alexa.
Absolutely. Thank you guys so much.